Hello again, everyone. I'm Mrs. Estes, and I'm giving the lesson recap for our cultures class from Tuesday, March 31st. And this time we talked about the country of Ukraine. So sometimes it's called the Ukraine, sometimes it's Ukraine, but basically it's Ukraine. It's a European country. It's very big for the European country, and it has a lot of really cool people. We're going to find out more about the celebration of Maslenitsa. I hope I'm saying that right. But it's a really cool celebration. Frankly, there's pancakes involved, so why not be excited about that celebration? So let me get started with what we did in class on Tuesday. And first of all, I played some fun Ukrainian music, folk music, a little bit of polka, a little bit of fun. And I tried reading our story that was all about a Ukrainian folktale, from Jam Bread. This is the Mitten. It's a very popular story, and it's all about a young boy who wants snow white mittens, but he ends up losing one, and all the animals come by and they try to fit inside of this mitten. Eventually they explode out of it, and he finds it and goes back to his grandmother that they live together. So the Mitten. I did record a video of me reading this story in case you want to check it out. So after our story, we talked a little bit about what we may already know about Ukraine. One of the students in our class was able to share some things that he likes to eat that are from Ukrainian culture. His family has a German Ukrainian background, so they have things like borscht and really good soup or stew, yummy food like that. I also have a paper that we printed out and I sent out to families so that we would be able to walk through some information together while not just sitting and listening, but writing things out together. This is information from a packet I used called This Kid's Life in Ukraine. And it's just a fun little packet that I found. Excuse me. And in the Ukraine, this is their flag. They have bright blue on the top with a yellow rectangle on the bottom. We also know, obviously, from our book that it snows. It does snow in Ukraine. Ukraine is centered in Europe, and it's next to 7 different countries. It's surrounded by land. And the countries that surround it are Russia, Belarus, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Moldova. I have a friend who's from Moldova. She's Moldovan. And so this area is kind of, if you see Ukraine here, it would be surrounded by different land, and the Black Sea would be here, and the Mediterranean Sea is over to the side, and the rest of Europe would be on to the other side there. So it's a nice, almost a oval type shape of a country. I'm sorry I don't have a map that shows Ukraine with me right now. We were able to look it up together online when we were in our class. So let's see. It does snow there, but it doesn't mean that they don't get sun. It just gets colder than it does here. So they definitely get some snow in the winter time. We also know that Baba is a fun name to use for grandma. Baba, it sounds like a name you wouldn't use for grandma, but that's what he used. And then we also learned from another set of information I'll get to is Dasha or Daka, which is a summer house. So I drew a little house with the sun here. Okay, so another fun thing we did was I said to the students that I found a letter that was written to me from a boy who lives in the Ukraine, and he wanted to tell me all about his life in the Ukraine, right? So this is the letter that I read. This is a letter from a boy named Artem, and he says, "Greetings from Ukraine. I live in Kiev. Kiev is the capital and the largest city in Ukraine. It's located in the north-central part of Ukraine. Today I'd like to tell you a little bit about my life in Ukraine. Every morning I wake up at 7 a.m. and eat breakfast with my mother and father. We usually eat bread and jam for breakfast." Sounds good. "My father walks me to my school on his way to his job. He works at a nearby hotel. He likes his job there. He says that he gets to practice his English a lot with the foreigners who come and stay there. So Kiev is actually a pretty popular city in Europe as well. So interesting that he has his father work there. At school, we practice Ukrainian grammar. Ukrainian is the official language of Ukraine. See, I thought they would speak Russian because it used to be a part of Poland-Russian areas, but Ukrainian is their own language. So this is the language of the country, Ukrainian. It's similar to Russian, but Ukrainian is its own language. In Ukraine, there's almost 100% literacy rate. That means almost everyone in the Ukraine can read. Very cool. We are very proud of this accomplishment, so we work hard in school. I eat lunch with my classmates at 12 noon. Today we ate cabbage rolls for lunch. Cabbage rolls are cooked cabbage leaves wrapped around fillings of meat, rice, and spices. Afterward, we had kutia for dessert. Kutia is a sweet pudding. In the afternoon, we have classes in math, science, and European history. My favorite subject is math. Okay, almost done with his letter here. After school, I have football practice, but it's not American football. I think you'd call it soccer instead. My best friend is on the wrestling team. Wrestling is another popular sport in Ukraine. I tried it before, and although I liked it, I didn't make the wrestling team. Another popular sport I would like to try is basketball. Perhaps I will become a famous basketball player. After my soccer practice, I walk home with my friend Sasha. He lives in an apartment near mine. Sometimes we do our homework together, but most of the time I go home and do my chores for parents, and then I start my homework. I'm excited about this coming weekend. We are going to spend the entire weekend at our dasha. A dasha is a summer cottage. Dashas are a very important part of our lives here in Ukraine. Our dasha is about 40 minutes from my apartment. I like it because it is a place where I can garden. We grow lots of different vegetables and flowers there. Our dasha is a very small house, but it's a piece of nature, and I really love it. Sounds like a fun place. Have you ever heard of Chicken Kiev? It's named after my city. That is what my mom is cooking for dinner tonight. Basically, it's a chicken breast that's pounded, rolled in garlic butter, and breaded. Chicken Kiev is my favorite meal. My mother's also making halushki, which are thick, soft wheat dumplings. Of course, we will have some fresh vegetables. I'm not sure which kinds because my mother buys them fresh every day at the local market on her way home. Next, she won't have to buy any vegetables next week because I have a lot of green beans we're going to harvest this weekend at my dasha. I should be going. I really need to finish up my chores and start my homework before I'm called to dinner. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Love, Artem. So that's the letter that I got from the boy. This is a picture of the boy, by the way. I colored his picture. So Artem here sent me a letter to tell us all about Ukrainian life for him. So he's wearing the classical colors of Ukraine. Ukrainians also wear a lot of red, white, really bright colors. This is my letter I was reading, by the way. So anyway, in our class, we basically talked about what did we hear from that letter? What was it that we learned from that letter? So we go back to our paper here, and it was, okay, well, we know the flag because we looked it up together. We know from our book that it does snow, but dashas are really important things for families in Ukraine. It's a summer house. It can be a small house. Maybe it's just like a cabin or something. And they go and spend weekends there, maybe time in the summer more than the city. So it's a way to get out and get close to nature, he said. So what language is spoken in the Ukraine? It is Ukrainian. It's very specific language, Ukrainian. What's the capital of Ukraine? Kiev. And what are some famous or popular sports? There was soccer, wrestling, and then he also mentioned basketball, but I just put these. So that's the things we put on our front page. And then we actually practiced some Ukrainian phrases. So the second page that we had here gave us some Ukrainian phrases in Ukrainian. It's written in Ukrainian here first, and then it's written out how you might try to say it. and then it's giving you the meaning. So hello in Ukrainian, I'm gonna butcher this, it's horrible, but Vitayu, Vitayu, hello. My name is, so my name is Mrs. Estes. It would be Menesvut, Mrs. Estes. So I'm from, like, where do you live? I'm from Lakewood, California. I would say Jazz, Lakewood, California. It sounds so horrible, but we tried our best. So things like, have a nice day, Harno Dincha. I have no idea if I'm saying it right. So what I am going to do, because I didn't get to share this in class, I am going to be posting different videos that tell us all about Ukrainian culture, and it gives us a fun look into what kids might do if they're from Ukraine. They have a super fun holiday called Maslenitsa. So that's the celebration we tried to look up towards the end of class. Maslenitsa is usually a week-long holiday, but some people just do it on the weekend of that week. And it's usually celebrated right before, I guess you would call Lent, and then before Easter. So it's a time of feasting and celebration together, coming out from the snow and celebrating spring, things like that. And what do people do when they get together? They eat. So one thing that they love to eat during Maslenitsa is sweet things that they don't get to eat all the time, but it's pancakes. Sometimes they call it Pancake Week or Weekend Pancake. It's celebration of pancakes. It's awesome. So if you ever want to check that out, I do have another video that we tried to watch in class, Maslenitsa Week, and there's a Ukrainian girl who explains what the holiday is all about, what they like to do. There's a lot of dancing, hanging out, getting together, eating together, and let's see. The last thing we did was I wanted to just make sure everybody's doing okay and say hello and try to see each other. We've been using Canvas conferences. So other than that, we're on spring break as of right now. So I hope you have a wonderful time off. If you need anything, our class Canvas platform has a lot of videos that will be posted and different things and links that you can check out to learn more about Ukrainian culture. We basically were filling out this paperwork, not paperwork, but fun pages that will help us learn more about Ukraine and what life is like there. Famous colors of Ukraine here. Okay. And just to wrap it up, make sure you check out the Mitten. It is a beautiful book, and I love this author and illustrator. Hope you have a wonderful time off on spring break, boys and girls. I will miss you, and I hope you are all safe and doing well. Bye-bye.